It's Saturday afternoon on SABC One, and you know what that means. It's time for GameON, of course, brought to you by Hollywoodbets. I am Caesar Mabena, proud to be in the company today of Jerry Skosana later on to discuss the local game, and right now, Shane McGregor to discuss what's happening out in England. Keep in mind, later on, we've got a special story, an inspiring Hollywoodbets story to tell you about a photographer out in Naval known as Vino Snaps, who's shaking up the world of football in the best way possible. But for now, let's talk about England. Shane, great to be in your company. We've discussed Forest week in and week out. We can't ignore Forest from the end of 2024 and coming into 2025. Last week, and we wondered how they would bounce back and if they could bounce back against Brighton. And a 7-0 thrashing of Brighton means they were back in order.
Yeah, good to be here again. Yeah,
Sure.
Definitely back in production, as we can call it. The week before was just a blip. It's one of those things, it does happen to every team, but they just showed what they're capable of. I mean, $7 is a hard in. It's the biggest score, I think, for them in 30 or 40 years or something, or whatever, So a big result. And we've always been, and I've been saying, watch out for this team. They're going well. Espirito to what a coach. I mean, he's got those players firing on all cylinders. Can you imagine when they spend some money and they bring new players in?
It need to be said, though, Brighton on slouches.
Exactly.
This is no ordinary team here in the Premiership.
Look, Brighton have been struggling a little bit of late.
Sure.
7-0, that's a hard hit. And I mean, you look at that team. You got Wood as a striker. He's been around all over the place. He's close to retirement ages than he is to starting. So, he's taken players that are been on the fringes, and he's made them better players. I mean, he got a hat-trick on the weekend. Just shows you what you can do.
Yeah, now, talk about Liverpool and what they've been doing, cruising, some may say, and 2-0 away at Bournemouth means they are really cruising, and it's up to the rest of them now to wait for Liverpool to somewhere stumble along the line, but it looks as though all is in order for Liverpool right now.
I disagree with you, cruising, because they struggled against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I watched the game. It wasn't a pretty game. At the end of the day, we got the result. Salah, 2 goals again, penalty, and then a phenomenal goal. But as I say, Bournemouth, again, one of those teams where you can't go there and just say we're going to get 3 points. It doesn't work like that. Liverpool struggled, but get the points. That's all that counts.
The big game of the weekend, Arsenal-Manchester City. I was certainly looking forward to this one. I thought maybe City would make a bit of a statement about a stronger ending to the season. Arsenal, well, they made a statement of their own, a 5-1 thrashing of City.
Well, the people taught the professor.
Yeah.
And when I watched that game, I mean, they were knocking the ball around the old way City used to do, and they didn't have a clue. I mean, there was one stage when they got one of their goals, there was 30 passes without Man City touching the ball before they scored. Brilliant performance. But having said that, Arsenal go play midweek in a cup game, semi-final, play the full team and get beaten 2-0. That's a bit of a worry for me, that you go from high like that to a very low. But having said it, they gave Man City a lesson, and it just shows you how far Man City have dropped off the pace.
And how often do we get to say both Manchester sides lost on the same day? Yes, for Manchester United, maybe it's a given, but for both of them to lose, United losing 2-0 at home to Crystal Palace.
I had a full time with that. A lot of my friends are Man United supporters, so you can imagine you're lucky to get a call, but I had fun. I was saying Palace woo, Palace what? Crystal woo. But anyway, long story short, Man United are off the, they're nowhere near. They brought in a few players, but no attacking players. Two of their attackers have left. So, good luck to them. A lot of building to be done there.
Needs to be said, though, for Crystal Palace, for a side that struggled the first half of the season, they really just struggle. They've improved of late. They are up to 12th now, and with that win, they jump up ahead of Manchester United on the log stand.
That says it all. It says it all about Man United's season. They're lucky they got points early on, otherwise they'll be in a relegation battle. It's as simple as that. Tottenham,
the 2-0 win over Brentford.
Up and down. A lot of injuries, a lot of players out. They've coming right slowly but surely, but the problem with them is the injuries. They have got so many injuries, it's just not true.
Chelsea now back in the top 4 after their 2-1 win in the derby against West Ham. Yeah, they blow out and cold Chelsea, but they're thereabouts in that top 4 race.
Right, they're thereabouts. They'll be there until the end of the season. You know, as I said, a lot of youngsters, so they do blow out and cold, but they're a decent side. They're a team to watch. If they can keep that team together, they'll be fighting for the title in 2 or 3 years.
Newcastle, 6th spot. Manchester City currently 5th spot. They're behind, of course, Chelsea. It's an interesting top 4 race when you consider City's only 2 points behind Chelsea at this point, and so Newcastle. So that top 4 race is worth keeping an eye on.
Well, the 3rd and 4th spots is worth keeping an eye on, because the top 2 are done. That's between Liverpool and Arsenal, but the rest is going to be a bun fight. You know, at the end of the day, it's about whoever can put through a string of results. Man City have brought a few players in. Whether it's going to be good enough, they have brought in a centre midfielder. Whether it's going to be good enough, we'll see. But too late to tackle for the title, but their 3rd and 4th spot, definitely worth fighting for.
Then, whilst we're talking about that top 4 race, Nottingham Forest currently just 3 points behind Arsenal. Could we not sneak them into the argument for a top 2 battle between themselves and Arsenal?
I think Arsenal will keep that 2nd position because they gain well, you know, and they do get the results. And having said that, I spoke earlier about the getting beaten, but they are consistent and they are doing it consistently. Where if you look at Forest, if they have those blips, it's going to be a problem. My worry with Forest is the big squad. They haven't got a big squad, and that's the big worry for me.
What if someone wants to maybe juxtapose that and playing devil's advocate and say, well, Arsenal also busy midweek with Champions Leagues and so on. Would that not maybe distract them in the league race going forward, or are they used to it?
They're used to it. They know exactly what to do. They've done it for a couple of seasons now, so they know exactly where they are. They have got the bigger squad, and they have got a lot of youngsters coming through. 2 of the youngsters have come through from junior age. So, you know, everything to play for those boys.
So much to play for out in England, and my oh my, is it not interesting when you look at the battle at the top, including all the way down to number 6, and how those teams will be battling for a top 4 position. Life interesting out in England. Keep in mind, the focus this weekend very much on the FA Cup. Next week when we come back, we'll focus again on what's happening in the league race. We take a short break with Shane, talk to Jerry Skosana and what's been happening locally with the derby in Soweto, the derby in Pretoria, including all the action in the PSL. Come back later with Shane and discuss what's happening in Germany.
Wanna bet?
You are on.
Breaking news. Gogo takes a prize challenge to a penalty shootout.
Aziz again.
Let's go.
Brian looks confident here. What? He's completely missed it. Here comes Gogo. And what a kick! She's done it! She's done the impossible! Hollywoodbets, Azishege, let's play.
Welcome back now. Time to look at the local game. Jerry Skosana joins me. And, well, when we look back at last week, you can't start anywhere but the Soweto derby. The drama coming late in the end is Pirates that win it from a penalty spot kick. After 90 minutes, dramatically, to walk away 1-0 winners. Jana, we won the game.
Hey, sis. Yeah, sometimes if you've been there before you've done it, ne?
Yeah.
You learn things over the weekend, like in the good derby. But unfortunately, Pirates took a penalty. So I'm used to that by scoring those late goals when people were going and stuff. But it was a good a game to watch. But my only worry was like the turf. The turf for me was a little bit heavy. And because of the rain in Gauteng, most of the players were struggling, honestly speaking. I mean, they were just sleeping all over the pitch. So for me, it was not something which I expected to see because I know what it takes, but it was just like players getting there, but not giving the best of what you expect good derby. So at least for that goal, hey, that goal, man.
I-penalty yona uyibone kanjani? Abanye bathi it's a penalty, abanye bathi it's not a penalty yona uyibona kanjani?
Ngisho njalo ukuthi lela goal, man.
Yeah.
Because liqala before that cheeky chip ya Maswanganyi, that chip, hey, you can't do that to Gutabi. You got few missed. And it's the opportunity for Paris to get 3 points in that time.
But he didn't.
Because they say Shayile,
But he didn't miss.
But now we go back to the penalty.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of controversy about the penalty. People talking about, yes, the foul was there, the advantage was given, a miss happened, now it was back to the foul, penalty. I think for people that knows better in terms of referees that dissected, for me, I think it was a penalty.
Now, let's talk about Cape Town City. They've won one in their last 5. But the top 2 sides are Soweto. Kunzima manje bashawe TS Galaxy 2-0. Mission seems to be struggling after what seemed to be a good start.
Because sometimes my coach will figure team in, you always want to look at things. But it was like, yo, lo muntu lona uphethe le yabo le yakho lona okhuluma ngayo ukuthi hayi yabona ku Cape Town City click bang.
Sure.
I beat Chiefs, I beat Pirates, then I'm like on top of the game. Wow, what happened in the next games? Nothing except the 1 game out of 5. After Chiefs and Pirates, he had 5 games, only 1 win against Richards Bay. The rest, not good results. So I think it's something which he needs to look at.
It's after the coaching change, game where they were scoring 1-0, maybe win 1-0. Now they bounce back and the coordinators 4-0 now, and they look to be settling into a solid foundation now. Sundowns.
Something which was exciting. Mkhulise being substituted in the first half as a midfielder, and then they brought in, the goal poacher himself, Fushalulile. And he made the difference. He's scoring 2 goals and creating that penalty as well. But also Ribeiro. Ribeiro's form for me. There was a time when we were here in studio talking about him wanting to play maybe for the national team. I'm not saying the change of mind. I've got a change of mind. No, he's quality. He is quality to Ribeiro.
And it became interesting, Chiefs hosting Amazulu. Amazulu scored 4 goals, but they share the points. 1-1, Amazulu with 2 own goals in the game.
Yeah, that wouldn't be something right, especially with technical team Amazulu. I mean, yes, some of the things can happen in terms of own goals, but we need to look at the last line of defense Amazulu. Remember what happened with the Veli Mota, being conceding some few goals, but this one against the foreman, I wasn't hype about it, but yeah, it's part of the game, it happens. And then, unfortunately for Amazulu, but still not a rolling coaster for Chiefs, but they are still struggling.
Man, when you talk about day and night game, usually we talk about cricket. But in my case, in the cheaper, day and night game, cheaper, walks away 4-1 winners.
And in a new stadium, let's say thanks because it's been long. Sakenuzo and Sishoko Stadium.
Yeah.
When Ria Stars was still there.
Yes.
But for Makesi to go back there in the township, that's why you want to revive your soccer career and also for the followers to come. The party, unfortunately, Baluze 4-1 at home. But, well, let's see what's going to happen next.
Now, 2 sides, Pezul, that are making statements. I'm telling the Pirates, we know Skukune has been a tough side to beat. Pirates Bashaya 2-1. Again, Pirates seem to be making all the right moves, even against the tough sides.
Doing well in the first half, getting those 2 goals.
Yeah.
And for Skukune, just unfortunate because yes, they wanted to come back, but it was not an easy one.
And then Sundowns in the derby against SuperSport United, they make it look easy. They're 3-0. They don't concede. Again, scoring goals in Sundowns. They seem to be finding themselves.
Yeah, they were playing a team that was still like with a lot of problems, SuperSport. But yeah, for Sundowns to do that, to win the derby, it was important. And the Kumbulo, which went Zagalani this afternoon.
That's why those 2 teams. Man, Sundowns against Orlando Pirates. It's a big game, this. Big game when you consider PSL, the league race, the way things ended last season. When you consider both these sides, the Champions League, in the knockout stages, huge game on the continent. This.
Yeah, both teams, the way the committee at Ngakona, you would tell this is going to be a good game this afternoon. I mean, both teams coming from a winning derbies. They want to brag about it, so they are playing both today, being on top of the log, both of them, 1 and 2, being like in the Champions League quarterfinal, both of them. It's going to be exciting, but for me, it's not just a game where we'll rule to say the winner this afternoon is going to win the league. It's still a first round. Yeah. There is still a long way to go. It's only just go out there and make sure you just play the better game and get the points as you can.
Now, in that case, the host Cape Town City, for Mushin, can he, get back to winning ways against Makesi here?
Yo.
Or is the pressure on Mushin now?
I'm going to la team struggle. But there I can see maybe Makesi coming out with this one.
Now, Skukune against SuperSport Sunday, there's a nice game to look forward to for Sunday.
I go with Skukune.
over SuperSport.
Yeah,
What's
because
changed?
They played well against Pirates. They were
Yep.
just unfortunate. But
Sure.
it's Sikuku, the way they play. They play good football and they're committed.
Is SuperSport at this point, do we now not consider them Kulama team now, top 4, top 5 contending for the league? What's changed with SuperSport over the last few years?
I think the coach was complaining to say most of the time he prepares players, he wants to continue with the players. Players are getting sold and it's out of his control. You know what's happening with Tashrik Morris moving to Kaizer Chiefs, who was like doing well at SuperSport. So those are the problems that he's encountered, but he's being hired to make sure that SuperSport play football. Now it brings a lot of youngsters to come and revive the team. So let's hope it's going to be okay, not to go for relegation.
Interesting times then. So that's what's happening in the local game. Thank you very much to Jerry Skosana. On the other side of this, Shane McGregor comes back and we discuss what's happening in Germany. Welcome back to Game On. Time to focus now on what's happening out in Germany and some interesting scorelines. Yeah, everybody wondering whether Bayern will stumble. They were up against Kiel in a game that served up 7 goals, but Bayern still walking away 4-3 winners. Thriller.
That's the main thing at the moment for them, is getting the points. A bit of a worry, conceding a few goals like that, 3 goals, especially against a team like that, you know. But, you know, when you play Bayern, it's like a cup final for all these teams. So Bayern know that it's going to happen. Everyone will raise their game.
How important is Harry Kane to the Bayern squad? Gets a brace in his 50th appearance in the Bundesliga.
Very important. If you saw when he was out injured, they struggled a bit without him. He spearheads the attack, you know, he brings players in. And Harry Kane is very good at doing that, taking players away from other players, you know, but he's very important to them. He's been scoring a lot of goals. As you can see, you know, 2 again. He's a proven goal scorer, so that's all that counts.
Leverkusen do the business against Hoffenheim, 3-1 win against what was a 10-man Hoffenheim at the end of the day. So job done there.
Job done.
Yeah.
Once again, you know, you just got to keep on going. The thing that's derailed Leverkusen this year has been midweek games.
Sure.
Been Europe, you know, so for them it was a bit unusual. They're not used to it, but still up there, still fighting for that title, still keeping the pressure on Bayern.
Now, Dortmund 2-1 winners over Heidenheim, away from home for Dortmund, an important win.
Much improved Dortmund and a much improved win for them, you know, because they had to get this result.
Yeah.
Dortmund haven't been at their best all season, you know, but now all of a sudden seem to have been turning it around. Let's just hope they can keep a game for the rest of the season.
Well, looking at what they've got coming up today, they play later on this afternoon against Stuttgart in a game where they'll look to keep the good times rolling.
Yeah, but this is going to be a very difficult game because you're coming up against a team that come off a loss, Stuttgart, and looking there to keep on top there. This is going to be one where I've got to look at it and say, I've got to go with the draw because it's too much for both teams to lose in this one.
Well, here's an interesting one then. Wolfsburg at home to Bayer Leverkusen. Bayer Leverkusen again have no choice. They just have to keep winning and hope that Munich drop points.
Got to keep on winning. You know, that's one thing about Alonso. He knows how to do that. And the Leverkusen team certainly know how to do it. So, last season only lost 1 game. But you know, once again, another difficult game. I just feel that, you know, the way they have been playing and the way they get in and getting victories out, you know, I can't see them not winning in this one. So for me, I do think that Leverkusen will be too good on the day.
Yeah.
Wolfsburg will put up a good fight, but I think they'll be too good and get the 3 points.
Borussia Mönchengladbach at home to Eintracht Frankfurt for the late kickoff.
Tricky game.
It's a very tricky game.
Yeah. Eintracht Frankfurt have been going well this season. We know all about that. You know, Mönchengladbach playing hot and cold, one of those teams that on their day can beat any team, including Bayern, including Leverkusen. But they're coming up against a team that are hungry for results. You know, they haven't been this high up before. They gain well, Eintracht Frankfurt. Very difficult one to call. Normally you say home teams, you've got to favour home teams, but the way Frankfurt are playing, you know, I've got to be looking at them saying victory for them.
So the big question out in Germany, will Bayern drop points and will those in the chasing pack be able to, well, catch up to them to make for an interesting closing to the season? We're still some way off the end of that particular campaign. But now, as we, bid farewell to Shane, we look into a special story in as far as the local game is concerned. And we're not even talking the professional ranks. We are talking about Kasi football out in the Vaal. And with the Vaal providing many stars in the top flight of South African football over the years, there's also a young man who's done his bit in contributing to the Vaal and the culture of football out in the Vaal. It goes by the name of Vino Snaps. Not a footballer, not a club officiator, no, he's a photographer, but his heart is very much in the game. Let's find out more about Vino Snaps and how he's continued to contribute to a point where he's a household name amongst many that are involved in the football fraternity.
Football in the Vaal is different. It's special. It's pure. And the man who's been at the center of all things good in terms of shining the light on talented youngsters in the region is Vino Snap. This is the best of the best tournament.
Right now we are at the top 16 tournament where it's we in collaboration with Bongani Chisham Timkulu and Vino Snap. We are bringing you these tournament games powered by Hollywoodbets. I wasn't looking forward to that welcome. So it got me shaking. It's just a reflection of what I've been doing for them. So they're just showing me love because I've been showing them love. And like I always tell them, I'm not expecting anything from the players that I've helped, from Kasi to professional. I'm doing it from here. When seeing them clapping and singing for me in joy and rejoice, it was really personal and hard-won.
If you look at players like Lembuhile Mofokeng, that boy was scouted by Uvino. You look at quite a number of players who baphuma like us through Uvino Snap. Zokhumula ukuthi even ama-team uyahamba usawufuna ama-boots kuwona abuya azogaya intwana like us. And it's such a touching thing ukuthi ubona a lot of players develop bekhula under Uvino through the eye of God.
Where we are right now, we had V2 Melo, and then we had a top 16. So today we're experiencing the semi-finals. It was the first semi-final and the second semi-final, and then right now we are waiting for the final.
The man with the eye for talent is also one of the most talented photographers in South Africa, but it's football that is close to his heart, and his brand has become synonymous with the beautiful game in the most inspirational way.
When it comes to the Vino Snap brand, it grew from township to the suburbs, and now we have so many talent from the township, and right now as we speak, we have so many professional players from the Vaal, which came through the eye of God. And these initiatives are bigger than what people think, because right now we see players as unknowns, and then tomorrow somebody might be showing up on TV as a somebody. So it's more heartwarming and it's more inspirational to see these young boys coming out from this dusty streets to the professional ranks.
After 16 teams did battle in this tournament, there could only be one winner at the end of it all, with 20,000 Rand on the line for the winning team. It was a bruising final, but in the end it was Begele FC who ended up getting the win over All Blacks FC, winning the contest by 2-0. The winning coach had some special praise for the co-founder of this event, thanking him for all that he's doing for football in the region.
Pick up to Vino. Uvino is one of the Opusha Amoshida as a guys. I so wish Uvino can counting more years and more energy to keep up the good job that is doing. And pick up even his team, the Hollywoodbets, everyone that is involved with Vino Snap, pick up to them, all of them. We've been through these games with Hollywoodbets. This is not the first edition. I think this is now the third edition that we're working with them. They've come in really handy. They've helped us with so many things, with gazebos, with making sure that the prizes are there, with making sure that the kits are there. The finalists are now playing with beautiful jerseys because of Hollywoodbets. Now we have medals because of Hollywoodbets. Now everyone is here. There's banners, there's gazebos because of Hollywoodbets. We are grateful. These games are not for me, these games are not for we, these games are not for Chusha, these games are not for Hollywoodbets. They are for Umpagat. But together we can do more.
What an inspiring story with Vino Snaps out in the vault doing his bit to contribute to the beautifully South African game with the aid, of course, of Hollywoodbets. So we'd like to thank you at home for taking the time to join myself, not forgetting Jerry as well as Shane and the rest of the team that is behind the scenes and from us all here at GameON. Until next week, it's click, click, bang.